Sorry for the delay, everybody.
Technical difficulties once again. I don't know. Can't figure it out. But I guess I need to buy a whole new computer camera setup system or something because I must be dumb.
Jake hates him. Let's just put it that way.
Jake does not like new system.
Yeah. Jake technology, no mix.
Yeah. So now I'm on my iPad. So
that works.
It works.
It works. For now.
I like speaking into a microphone. It makes me look more podcasty.
Well, it makes you look podcasty, and you get deep in there.
I know.
You like shove it in your face. I'm not going to keep going.
You gotta get that ASMR in there, man.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Hitting the Chip with Jake and Jordan. We are on episode number 4. So welcome. Got a lot to talk about. Going to review the past weekend's events at Colorado National Speedway. We're also going to get into green flag, black flag. We haven't done that one in a long time. And that's one of my more favorite ones. But we actually had a loyal listener, watcher, podcast follower of our show reach out to us and actually propose something. So we're going to bring it up, and we'll talk about that later. Then there's also a couple announcements that we're going to make at the very end of the show. So stick around. Lot to go over, that's for sure. But to kick this off, we're going to give a little shout out to, the Jake of all trades at AAA Service, and then we'll just jump right into it. So here we go.
I know he's down there just making noises, stalling. He just put so much work into keeping this act going.
Hey. Yeah, Mandy's still home. Her friend's gonna pick her up like any moment. Can you do like a loop around the block or something? Perfect. Okay. Yes. All right. Thanks. See you soon.
It makes me chuckle.
Right.
Because it's so relatable. Anyways, so kick off this shindig. Let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about the races from last weekend. There was a lot that happened last weekend. Some good, some not so good. It was a wow of an opening night. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. I would say overall racing of the night. We saw some really great racing, but just some incidents that just sucked. Not only for it being first night, but the way things have happened to the drivers, and especially Ashlyn Himmler and Terry. Is his last name McBride? Terry McBride, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Glad they're doing okay. Ashlyn's pretty banged up. I know she had a nasty concussion. Prayers to them for a speedy recovery. But on the flip side of it, again, like I said, I thought overall, outside of those things, we saw some pretty great racing. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, when we'll jump right into that. So you had opening night, and it was, I got to get this right, the Lowry Insurance Short Track Season Opener. Mouthful and a half. Yeah, the super lates, the late models, legends, bandoleros, and then the crazy trains, which, again, there wasn't one division where there wasn't something, to be talked about. Yeah, to be talked about. So we'll get into it right away. Starting off with the bandos, right? Like they usually kick off the night, heat races, main events, everything. Overall, they have a great group of kids. Another stacked field. There was 10 in the bandits, and then I forget how many there was in the outlaws. I'm gonna go back and look at it here because they actually did post the, which usually doesn't happen, but they were pretty on top of it. But they posted the recap from last weekend. So for the outlaws, there was 9, and technically there was 12 in the bandit class. So you got what 30, 20, 21,
30,
30.
30, 21.
My math is not mathing today. I'm just going to put it that way. So you had 21 of Bandoleros across both divisions of him that showed up. So that's great. What else?
They actually got to use transponders for the first time.
For the first time.
And I thought they worked pretty well. They were able to catch them on the timing loop. They were pretty, I know Jim and the officials were pretty, I wouldn't say skeptical, but they were wanting to be cautious of where the drivers were driving to get across the timing loop. But it worked. And, we were able to see their times and have a better, I guess, help with not only running order, but then finishes.
Like keeping score of them makes it.
Yeah, keeping score.
Yeah, makes it 10 times easier. Last year, there was a lot of discrepancies about where people finished, and that happens, when you have such a differentiation in speed too between the older, more experienced kids and and some of the younger kids that just don't have that experience. But so yes, they did put the transponders in them. There was a little discrepancy around that because we had a big meeting with Jim and a couple of the other track officials beforehand. There needs to be an orientation to me. Like, we did it after the first practice. We should have done it like as soon as we got there, like 2:00, right? Like you bring all the Bando kids over and you go over everything because there's a lot of new kids in that bandit class, right? And you don't need to include the outlaws, but I mean, you probably should. Just like all of the Bando kids come over, do orientation, make sure they all know what they're doing, where they're supposed to go, turn on your radio, make sure it's working, and talk to the kids throughout all the practices. Like right from the first practice, it was like mayhem. A couple kids spinning out and kids are going full tilt and they don't know what a yellow is. And it just was like a precursor to the way the rest of the night was going to go for them. But long story short, they were going to do in the final practice, they were going to do qualifying as their practice. Okay. So your best lap from practice was going to be your qualifying lap for the Bandos, which was great. Like you have 10 minutes to lay down your best lap, and that's what's going to be qualifying. And then they're going to set the fields for the slow bandits, and the fast bandits. Basically, they call them junior bandits, but that's basically essentially what they were. It was the slow kids and the faster kids.
Yeah.
And then they did the pit meeting or the driver meeting during that last practice. So there was nobody over in the timing loop area that turned it on for the kids. So again, it was miscommunication there. I get it. Opening night, they just threw the transponders in the car, so nobody really knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, communication, that's key in these kind of situations. If you're going to do it, probably would have been better to announce it during the week. Hey guys, we're going to put transponders in your cars, so be ready to go.
Right.
Because I'm sure that the people up in the tower didn't know that they were doing it, obviously.
Yeah.
But who knows? But heat races went well. The slower heat, Addie, she jumped out to an early lead and led all the laps. And then last lap, got beat. So I was happy that learning experience for her and her first time being in a car. I was proud of her for leading all those laps.
She got out of the car happy too. I mean, it sucks when you do that good and all of a sudden the last 20 feet you lose it, but she wasn't disappointed. She actually was excited. She got second, and she, that was good.
She was happy. Yeah. She was really happy about it. And then, so Scarlett Jones ended up passing her and got the win. So that's great for that young lady too, because she was determined. You know what I mean? It was a great move and great pass, and she did all the right things. So I was happy for her, cheering her on. I mean, all the parents up there too, everybody's cheering on the kids, and it's great to see, the camaraderie there. You got to get excited for the little kids. You have to, it keeps their confidence up and whatnot. But then the fast group, you know, they right out the tilt, there's about 4 or 5 cars that are pretty darn fast. The 44, the 98, the 32, the 28. Like there's a handful of them. The 07, I mean, for God's sakes, Madison ended up winning the heat race. She was really fast, but they did a really good job. It was poor Nora. She felt a
She said the steering wheel was pulling her to the right.
yeah, there was one wreck,
to the left.
and what happened was, and this is, and I'm sorry for taking kind of long, but because this kind of is something that does bug the shit out of me. You know, the 98 spun coming on to the big track, right? And she's down in the gutter, and they just let it go, right? And just so everybody's aware, like they don't throw the caution. They just have everybody on officials on each corner, and they have an orange flag, and they're waving them at the kids in case somebody spun out, and it's supposed to, like, you know, bring caution to them, but they're still green. So, but most of the kids, they don't slow down. They're racing, right? Like it's green. They're just keeping their head on a swivel.
Yeah.
But the 98 was down at the bottom of the racetrack. She had spun out. One of the officials, I don't know who it was, had ran over there, and apparently they had told her to just get going and get up on the racetrack and go. Well, as soon as she did that, she turned right up in the middle of traffic and boom, got drilled. And to me, it's like, you know, where's the person on the radio guiding that kid to not go right up in the middle of the traffic? Like, no, turn back to the infield, go in through the dirt if you have to, get going, and then blend in with traffic, you know, just like you would normally do in any other big car or anything like that. So unfortunately, there was that wreck that kind of started off the night, and it was the 20, I think it was the, which one hit her? I think it was the orange car. I forget the kid's name. But anyways, then I thought Nora got involved in that wreck, but no, she said she felt a vibration, and sure shit, good thing she did, because the right front was a little bit loose. One of the nuts had backed out, and you double check these cars, but still stuff just wiggles.
Goes loose.
So she pulled off, but congratulations to Madison Stanley. Again, it's just the discrepancy there with the kids. I'm just really protective of them all because, you know, they just don't know. But anyways, going to the main event. Do you want to talk about the main event then?
I mean, for the bandos?
Yeah, for the bandits.
I mean, it kind of early on, it was kind of really set in stone. Madison Stanley got out to about a turn lead after about 4 laps.
Yeah.
And really kind of set sail, and that was about it. You know, so she's getting faster and faster and faster, and you know, there's some other kids out there that are doing well and getting fast, but I guess there's a little bit to catch up to. But you know, there were some incidents. I don't want to drag this out too much. There was a little bit of incidents in the main event as well, but I think overall it was fun, probably a lot of fun for the kids, right? There's a lot of cars out there, and there was lots of passing, and you know, there was some slow cars, so a lot of these kids, especially trying to navigate around the slower kids, you know, maybe we can kind of clean that up a little bit. But racing's racing as well, so you don't want to tell a kid, oh, you have to slow down for the slow kid to go around them. You know, it's trying to get the slow kids kind of in a spot where they're not maybe causing an incident for the faster kids, right? But that's just learning experiences. That's just something that's just going to have to be, you know, learned over time with these kids. And I never want to tell a kid you have to slow down, right? But try to be cautious at the same time, right? But Nora again had an issue, so she pulled off. And I don't think there was any other accidents or incidents in that race.
Not after that.
I can remember.
Yeah,
but
not after that.
Yeah, but everybody finished, you know, except Nora. Addie did well for her first race, so super proud of both of them. I know it stings for Nora, but we'll get her fixed and we'll get her back out there and then 2 weeks. But I didn't get to see the Outlaw race. Yeah, I don't even know who won. Oh, it was Knight Rider.
Liam
That's right.
Liam Hammond.
That's right. Yeah, I can't really talk about the Outlaw because I was helping Addie get out of the car.
Yeah, I know. I didn't get to watch them. I just went back and watched on low budget. I didn't get to watch it live, but there is something to be said about that division too, because there's a lot of familiar faces that are competing again this year in the Outlaws. But young Jackson Mueller is stepped up to the Outlaws. I know there was a little bit of I don't know if you say discrepancy because he's younger, but and trying to compete in the Outlaws. But to me, that kid was ready for the situation. Like he did extremely well last year. Him and Steinke, Austin Steinke, given their ages, right? Like I would have still put him up in the Outlaws no matter what, because they were ready for it.
Yeah,
you know, it's faster. Yes, he's younger and he's gonna learn. I mean, but that's the whole point is you want him to learn. Like he's gonna have to learn car control even more now with it being full tilt, right?
Right.
So because I know that he spun in the main event, but he ended up finishing. Let me go back to the final order. Sorry. Yeah, Liam had won it, and then the Vanderwall kid, he ran second, and then Jackson Mueller ended up finishing third in his first Outlaw race.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? But it's that just proof in the pudding. I mean, the kid's ready for it. But there's a good lineup with there too. Peyton Opperman Justin Bernard finished fourth. Peyton Opperman finished fifth. So, and then you have the Snyder kids. They're competing up this year in the Outlaws, and then Lee Malavasic, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And that rounded out your top 9. So, yeah, I could go in further into some of the discrepancies that I didn't like about the Bando race, but I guess we'll save that for another day to try and keep moving along with the night. But overall, super proud of all those kids. It was awesome to watch. So now we'll get into kind of the legends. Jake kind of talked about it. So if you all don't know what had happened during the dash race, I guess we'll kind of talk about that now. It was opening lap, opening corner. They went 3 wide and bottled up 4 or 5 cars, and then I think 2 of them didn't end up finishing.
Yeah, one of them was Jesse Dyke next to us, which this is the second year in a row during a heat race, lap 1, turn 1, that she's been taken out. Luckily, she wasn't as damaged as she was last year because it needed a whole new clip on the one last year. But I think she just tore up some left front suspension and bent her bumper. And I think they had spares because she ended up making the main event. So, but there was 2 or 3 other cars that didn't finish that race after 100 feet, 150 feet.
I mean, they were just into turn 1, and what had happened? Yeah, they I forget. I think it was the 27 had got a run come into the stripe, and I don't know if Jesse backed out of it early, but got underneath her, and just made it 3 wide first corner. And it's like, I understand you got to run and you're looking to make a move early, but it's lap 1. I mean, first corner
of a heat race.
Like you just be smart. That's it, right? Like don't put yourself in those kind of situations.
See, to me, my philosophy in a heat race, right? Unless there's only 5 of you in the heat race and you can make it up. And since, the slow dash gets as many points as the fast dash for first, second, and third, if you're trying to go for third or even more, I can understand that. But when you're 15 cars deep and you're in the back of the field and you're diving in on the corner, lap 1, turn 1, there's no purpose for that. There's no reason for that, right? Like, go easy, back off. You're not going to pass So this is probably.
But the person who dove in was in like third.
Oh, this was up front?
This was at the very front of the field.
Oh, well, even still, like, there's no reason to go diving into the corner like that. Like,
no,
that the legends spread out pretty quick. especially from the faster ones to the slower ones, they spread out pretty quick. So like, just let things happen and then try and race your way up there. You don't have to Captain Chaos it down into corner one.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully we don't see that this weekend. But
Yes.
but to that point, like it was just an unnecessary move. I think it's way too early in the race to send it like that. Like, and if you know you got a good piece, right? Like patience is a virtue, and you'll get your move, and you'll get around them, and you'll be running up front. But anyways, then I forget what lap it was that had happened, but
I think it was about just after halfway in that heat race, and they had just restarted after a spin, and she just was coming out of the corner. I think she just tried to jump on it earlier and got on it a little too hard, and she ended up spinning herself out, and the car started backing up toward the wall. And I can understand hitting the brake because you want to give people room to get around you, but I mean, at that point when you're stuck right there in the middle of the track, it's going to be tough either way. Nothing against her and what she did at all. I'm not blaming her one bit, but it's just one of those situations you're just stuck in no man's land. And it's kind of like when you're on the highway and you're in the left lane for Terry and there's traffic up front. You can't see it because you're behind like a bigger car. All of a sudden that bigger car moves out of the way because the left lane's stopped and the other lanes aren't. And you're just, you're screwed. You can't slow down. And that's what happened to Terry, unfortunately. And that was one of the hardest hits I've ever seen in race cars, let alone legend.
Oh yeah. I mean, that even almost worse than some of the barrel rolls that we've seen.
Yeah.
Right. Cause you're just a sitting duck. And it was, I mean, you heard it. I mean, it was loud.
You almost felt it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. How hard that hit was.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And to your point, there was nothing Terry could have done because it was like the parting of the Red Sea, right? Like, car went down, and then all of a sudden she was just there in the middle of
when you're going those speeds, there ain't not. You could try and slam on your brakes. All it's going to do is maybe take about 5 miles an hour of speed off of you, and that's about it. Yeah. So.
And boom, and you know, they brought the ambulance out and whatnot, and she got out of the car, and she looked like she tried to walk it off for a second, but then they ended up picking her up and putting her in the ambulance, and that was the last time we kind of saw her for the night. But yeah, there was an update later on social media from her family that she had a major concussion, and I forget, was it a neck injury?
I think she just had a sore neck. I know they were really worried about her ribs and her lungs. Ended up being fine with that. No broken ribs. Obviously, probably bruised like crazy. But I know after doing a CT scan and a X-ray that there was no punctured lung or anything like that. I know Morgan put some sort of medical term on her post that I have no idea what it is. Something about bleeding. So probably something just after getting hit so hard and bruising that maybe there's just blood in the area that they got worried about. But let's just say she's not going to be racing for a few weeks.
A little while. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. You know, you never want to see anybody get hurt by any means. And so hopefully she has a speedy recovery, but and hope, I don't know if how bad the car is and whatnot. We kind of got to look at it a little bit, but there was so many people around their pit. It was just like, you don't want to go jumping in and whatnot. You just wanted to stay out of the way. So, you know,
the worst part about it is that Paul just lost his dad. Last Thursday, I think.
Yeah, and condolences to that family. I mean, they're going through a lot at that point too.
So so all the prayers and thoughts and love to them. So if you haven't, at some point, at least just send something their way. You know, any words of prayer and love to them. I'm sure they will fully appreciate it.
Yeah, they're a really good family and really nice people. That's for sure. But then getting into, I guess we can announce the the winners from from that, right? So I got to scroll back up because I don't remember exactly who won that race after that happened.
The heat race, Brian Harlow won the slow feature.
The slow
or
dash.
not the slow dash.
Slow
Wait,
dash.
no. Ty Brown. Sorry, I was on the wrong one. Ty Brown won the dash. And in your fast dash, I don't think they had any incidents, did they?
Not that I remember.
I know Colton Crocker won the fast dash.
Yeah, he ended up winning the fast dash, yeah.
And then in the slow feature, just to kind of speed things up, we'll just kind of announce the winners for this.
Scroll through it, yeah.
Yeah, Brian Harlow won the feature
Yeah.
for the night. And then Colton Crocker was your fast feature winner for the night, who was also pulling double duty with the super late model.
Super late model, right. But then, yeah, so we'll kind of jump through, get into the late models a little bit. Casey Wiggins, we'll go with the dash first. So Mikey Blackard and Mariah Boudreau led the way, but then hard charging Mr. Newey, which we all know, or I would say we know, Brandon Newey. He made a pretty good charge there towards the end of that heat race.
Mm-hmm.
But they did a pretty good job overall. I remember watching that one. It was a good race. The fast dash was same kind of thing. They kind of single filed there, and wasn't a whole lot of action, more or less. They kind of just got panned out, and Casey Wiggins ended up driving away with it. But and he was strong early on.
Yeah.
Casey Wiggins was. I thought he showed a lot of speed, a lot of consistency too. You've seen him grow as a driver over the last couple of years, and
no pun intended.
I know he's like 8 foot tall now too.
I remember when that kid was about like 5'11". our first year. Now he's like, I think he's taller than me. I think he's like 6'9". Feels
I don't know. He's tall some bitch, that's for sure. But he did a great job in the dash race. Going on to the feature, right from the get-go, it was Winemaster and Lee Kemet. They were kind of leaning on each other early for good, I don't know, probably good 4 or 5 laps or so. And then with Dan Elma ended up taking over the lead. And then, who was it? It was Joseph Adrande. Man, he was strong in that race.
Mm-hmm.
He was putting up a fight. Him and I know Brandon Newey ended up closing in late in that race as well. Casey Wiggins ended up, he was kind of battling there about 4th or so, and then got around him, and then he ended up slipping up into 3rd, but didn't quite have it there towards the end. But Dan Elma, he was just strong. Plus go along with his experience too, right? Like he's been running those cars for a long time, and look at that car. Holy crap, man. That was a badass looking late model.
Yeah. Well, and I know pretty much every open practice so far, he's probably the one that's probably put in the most amount of laps. Like the last open practice I looked, I think he did like 80 something laps total between his red car and his old blue car.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, he's working out what the track's going to be like early on and figured it out. And he was,
it showed.
I know during practice, he was working that Michael Scott line. So if he starts using that more often and it works, then we might have to call that the Scott Alma line.
That's pretty funny. But he ended up taking your feature. So congrats to him. Not a bad car count overall. There was 15 of them that showed up. Well, there were 16, but Joe Hill didn't end up starting the main event. But 16 for opening night. I was a little surprised by that number. I know there's a few of them that are out there that are, Meisner, he wasn't running, but I know he was trying to sell his car at one point, but I don't know if he ended up doing it or not.
Yeah.
But, And then we know that Kyle Clegg, he ended up retiring. So I don't know if they plan on putting anybody in that car or if they're trying to still sell it. Because those were the two class of the field last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, strong start to the season for Joseph Adrande. I mean, I was proud of him. Casey Wiggins, Lee Kemet, he kind of struggled a little bit. I was a little surprised by that, but it's opening night, you're getting your bearings underneath you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good race overall.
Joe broke his brake line, is what I've been told.
Oh, bummer. I know what that feels like, bro. I did that championship night last year. Broke brake. Yep. Snapped it right off.
I was going to say, you snapped it right off.
Yeah.
The whole
was toast.
The whole mount and everything.
Yeah. Now moving on to the super lates. Strong field right from the get-go. We had a total of 15, which is more than what I was expecting, to be honest. There was quite a few surprises that showed up. Ed showed up in his car, which I was not expecting.
I wasn't expecting that.
I was not expecting that one. Kyle Ray showed up. Was not expecting that one.
Yep.
Even though he kind of touched on it a little bit when we were talking on our show, right? A couple weeks back. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch it. And then Holly Clark made her debut in super late model locally.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you have your regulars. The Yankees showed up, and Nathan Gasser continuing on in his super late from where he was at the end of last year. Cassidy Hines, Colton Crocker, and then a few new names, right? Like Dylan Jones, PJ Maturano. I'm guessing on that name, so don't shoot me. Mike Hanna, but Michael Scott, and man, he was the one I was anxious to watch, to continue on the streak that he had towards the end of the season last year, to see what he was going to be able to accomplish at the beginning of this year. So,
well, and especially after he went down to the snowball, to see if kind of some of his learning experience translated back up to here. And
right.
We're not sure exactly what happened to his car, but hopefully it's nothing too bad right at the start of that feature.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. I didn't hear anything. Did you, about what had happened?
I haven't heard anything. I mean, our thought was that he missed a shift right off the bat, but then coming out of 2, it just looks like that car just had no power. So we don't know if maybe it lost power or maybe threw a gear. Oh, broke his drive shaft. Oh, okay.
Bummer.
I was to say, it's got to be something in the drive line.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. Because he was fast. I mean, yeah, he set quick time, won the fast dash, and I'm just a fan of his style. I mean, I really am. I've just really come to grown to like how he races, and he's not afraid to send it up in that third groove.
Yeah.
And, as you date back to last year during the SRL race, he started moving up there, and then all of a sudden you saw a plethora of out-of-towners start to move up that direction, and it kind of opened up some eyes for people. But
right.
But your slow dash winner was Bruce the Moose. He just keeps racking up wins no matter what. So, and then getting into the feature, he ended up having a really strong finish. I don't know what happened to that car after he got into that incident, but
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, after Michael Scott on the first lap, have that happen to him, a couple laps, I don't know if it was a couple laps later or a little bit later. I know there were some incidents from spins and people getting punted and stuff like that, but that's racing. It's going to happen. But there was an incident where Kyle Ray was, I think, around 4th, and Holly and Nathan Gasser, I do believe it was, were battling just behind him. And Holly was doing a good job still staying on the outside. And it just seemed like she kind of started rolling it a little bit. And Kyle, I don't know if he was maybe tight and just started falling back just a tad. But, I mean, he was kind of like the train was coming right behind him, right? And from our vantage point, from where spotter stand is, and Jordan and I were sitting kind of like right in front of the spotter stand, it's too far over toward turn 3. It needs to be moved over more toward the middle of the track.
Yeah.
And I say this because it looked like from our vantage point, Kyle could go to the wall coming out of 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Holly had a little bit of a run and got to his kind of quarter panel and just kind of got her into the wall, got him into the wall. Didn't damage anything on the cars, it looked like. Obviously cosmetic, but Gasser got by. Holly got back on the inside, and then going into turn 1, it just seemed like they were both kind of leaning on each other. I think Holly was just trying to get by him and try to get him to throttle real hard and leaning on each other, and she ended up spinning out. And then Bruce the Moose, I mean, one of those incidents again, you're in no man's land, and just got over top of her and ended her night. Sounds like more cosmetic than anything. So I think we'll see her back out next super late model race.
The Moose was airborne.
Whatever happened to, Moose was airborne.
He was airborne.
Maybe the right front was gone.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that car when it hit the ground, I hope Bruce the Moose took his tape measure and micrometer and plumb bob and everything else that he's got, like digitally scan that car, because after that moment, he even got sent to the back after that incident and drove his ass to almost 3rd. I think he ended up 4th, right?
Let me go down. I think he ended up 4th, yeah. But let me double check. No, he ended up 3rd. He ended up past Gasser. Yeah, he ended up 3rd.
Had he had 5 more laps, I think he probably could have not only passed Cody Vanderwall, but he definitely would have passed his son. That car came to life. Again, don't know what happened to it. Hopefully he's researching it and writing down notes.
No shit.
Because it needs to stay that way, apparently.
It was impressive.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless he was just driving the shit out of it.
It could have been that. I mean, I don't. Maybe he was just pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know, but
yeah,
whatever it was like,
goddamn.
He
he
just
literally passed probably 8 cars late in that race.
Yeah.
And got up into 3rd, which in the super late models, passing 3 or 4 cars late in a race is a handful. To pass like 8, that's like unheard of.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was quite the race. Like you said, there was a couple just incidents. I don't think there was anything malicious.
Not that I saw.
Nothing that I saw where anything was
hard
really,
racing.
It was all hard racing. Some of the calls were a little interesting, like when the 18 and the 17 got into each other. And they just sent the 18 to the rear. I thought that was interesting. I thought they were going to put them both to the rear for that one.
Right. Which over the years, it's like they need to figure out their rule for that, right? We've seen the person spinning the other person gets sent to the back only. We've seen, oh, well, you were involved in it. I know it's not your fault, but, this car spun you. You're both just going to go to the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for some reason on Saturday, there was, I think, 2 or 3 incidents where people got spun out. The person getting spun out went to the back. So that's interesting. They need to clean that up, I think.
Well, yeah, it's just a consistency, right? Like that just needs to, if you got to have some sort of pecking order, or like you said, like some sort of ruling or something that you're going to stick to. And this is it. Like if you spin or you're spinning somebody, then you both go to the rear, right? Like, to me, that would be the best call. Like, you bring out a caution, the 2 cars that were in the caution that caused it, you both go to the rear and make it easy on yourselves. So then there's no, you're passing the judgment part of it of who's in the wrong.
Right.
It's like, you're both in the wrong. You both go to the fucking rear.
Right. And if it's a lack of like eyes on the track, like, I know it's hard to get people, especially good people. I'm not trying to say the officials that we have sucker or anything like that. But if it's just the sheer lack of eyes on the track to really see what happened, because in that point, from basically the start finish line to turn 2, it's either got to be the tower, the flagman, or the person that's sitting on pit or like track exit, right, in pit entrance, right? And if that person at track exit isn't paying attention to their one spot, really, it kind of should be turn 1 to turn 2 as they're coming to them. That should be their responsibility in my mind. Then if they're not paying attention to that, then they need to fix that. But maybe it's just they need more eyes.
I mean, it could be a possibility. I mean, I don't know. To me,
Speculation, opinion,
yeah, it's all speculation at this point of who made that call and whatnot, and who's watching what. And I mean, you could totally go down the line, right? But to me, the easiest way you could get around that is you just send them both to the rear.
Right.
You just, I don't care. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Cause caution, go to the back. So then you get into the trains, which I didn't watch the trains. We were at that point. I had gone over right after the super late model race. I was going to go grab a quick beer, which I thought was going to be quick, and then go back to watch the trains. But by the time I got in line, I mean, I spent like 20 minutes in the beer line trying to grab one and totally missed the entire race. But I heard there was some, did you watch it?
I didn't get to watch it. I was helping the girls get ready for, signing autographs right after that. But I heard a lot of people bitching and complaining and hooting and hollering. And at one point I heard, this is stupid. All they do is fucking ram into each other. And it's not about racing. It's about who's going to wreck who, just so that there's no cars left but that person. And then they win.
Which, it's the trains. To me, at that point, it's kind of a demolition derby. The trains are they're a demo derby type car. I mean, it's the entertainment. It's not a true, it's a form of racing, but it's not like I don't want to say legitimate, but it's not, it's the fun factor, right? Like, it's a fun race.
They're still running for a championship for themselves and stuff. But to like the, single cars, not a 3-car hookup train, right? You just think, well, there should be a respect level out there. It's like, these cars are pulled out of the junkyard,
basically.
Put a motor in it, hook them up to 2 other junk cars. What do you expect? I mean, that's like telling the Demo X guys you can't hit each other.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, it's they don't, I mean, a lot of them, sure, I don't know, but I'm not going to go down and speculate on how much money they got into them, right? But that's the purpose of them. They're there to entertain the fans. Like, you're there to put on a show. And granted, there's not a whole lot of them. Not like it used to be, in a sense. There was 7 of them that started the race. And a lot of the drivers that I've talked to, it's just a lot of fun for them to go out there and do it, more or less. They're, some of them are there to compete really hard, and some are there this is just a kick in the ass.
Johnny Berardi said there was almost a fight on the front stretch.
And that was the other part that I had heard, that there was quite a scuffle that almost broke out.
Hey, we've been talking about it for a long time. If you're gonna fight, do it in the front stretch. Let the fans see it.
Right.
That was the perfect opportunity to try it out, man. I mean, like as new track owners especially, I get it. And, trying to keep the image that you're a good sporting track. But, I mean, that was your perfect opportunity to just let the Dukes come out.
Let them go.
Yeah.
Let them go at that point.
Have at it, boys and girls. I mean, if there's a woman and trying to fight, obviously I don't condone hitting a woman. But, I mean, if it's 2 guys or 4 guys, let them go.
Hey, if she's 6'4", 260,
and she sounds like this,
I'm swinging.
I'm still kicking in that area. Just to check.
I'm just kidding. We don't.
No, we don't know that.
But what's really funny about all of that? Out of all the races that had happened throughout the entire night, that is the least one I expected to see a fight come from, was the trains. Yeah. I mean, the least. That was, if I had to choose, okay, who's going to fight tonight? Legends? Bandos? Meh.
Parents?
Yeah.
Late models, if
Eh.
there were 2 other drivers that would have made it, there definitely might have been a But
Couple.
super late models, you're always thinking, oh my, there could be a fight, especially nothing against Ed, but especially when Ed Vecchiarelli shows up, you just never know.
You do. That's
You just
true.
never know.
You never know. It depends on who gets into him or who pisses him
What
off.
kind
and he
of
comes
what kind
out
of
swinging.
mood Ed's in?
Yeah. But the trains, that wasn't on my bingo card.
No,
No.
not at all.
But entertaining night to say the least. It was good. It was good racing overall. Like I said, you go back and you you think about the night. Even though there was, like we talked about at the very opening part of the show, there was a lot of, down moments, a lot of positive moments. Overall, I think it was a great kickoff to the season. The stands were decent, I thought, for opening night, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't packed, but there was a lot of people there.
Well, and we also got to consider it, which just sucks, that the motocross nationals were at Mile High. So
Well, not only that, but you had the Avalanche were playing, the Nuggets were playing at the same time. So for them to pull the crowd that they did, I was
still pretty proud of that.
Pretty impressed.
Yeah.
So,
and it was good. The new owners during the pit meeting announced or introduced themselves to a lot of the people that didn't make any of the practices, and then introduced themselves to all the fans, ensuring them that hey, as long as they're there, as long as they own the track, Colorado National Speedway stands. So it's good to hear, and it gives you some positive reinforcement going forward.
Yeah. So good night. Let's talk about what's upcoming for this weekend, because it's night number 2, but opening night for these divisions that I'm about to name off. So it's the Purple Wave Auctions Hammer Down.
Dropping the hammer.
Opening night for the figure 8s, pure stocks, super stocks, and then the Grand American Modifieds. So super excited about this weekend. I'm glad Mother Nature is not playing nice right now and tomorrow. That means Saturday it's supposed to be 70 degrees and sunny, and it's going to be beautiful.
It's supposed to be like 79 degrees.
I keep seeing my phone updates every 30 minutes, it seems like, but it's going to be sunny and nice.
It's going to be sunny from like Thursday afternoon all the way through Saturday. That's
correct.
What we care about.
That's all I care about. Just leave my weekends alone. Rain as much as you want. Make my lawn look beautiful.
Oh, I know.
But leave my weekends alone.
Yeah. One half day already with rain, and my grass is already like a good 1/4 inch taller, and we just mowed it on Sunday.
Dude, you know what's really funny is one of the girls left a cup on the back porch, and it is completely full, like full to the brim of water.
Damn.
So tells you how much, and it's like one of those Stanley cups. It's not like a glass; it's a Stanley sized cup, and it is full.
Hey, that's an expensive cup. You tell him go get that some bitch inside.
Hopefully, my wife's not watching. It's her cup, so I don't care.
She's probably, I don't know. She might be waking up right now.
But anyways, come out, check it out. It's going to be a great weekend. We're really excited. Should have a pretty good car count between the super stocks and pure stocks. They're going to have a really big car count. We'll see how many figure 8s show up. I've seen some preview of a few different cars that are out there. There's some good looking cars this year. And then the modifieds, you never know. We could have 20, we could have 30. I mean, it really depends. There's quite a few that have showed up to the practices this year that we weren't expecting. So we'll see.
Quite a few that we've heard that haven't made any of the practices yet, but will be out there come Saturday.
Yeah.
So there's one, I know one especially that hasn't raced since 2021. So it'll be good to have this person. I don't want to spoil it, but have this person back out on the track and help contribute to a great growing class.
Yeah. So come out, check it out. We'll be there with our bells and whistles on, saying hi to everybody. So come by and see us after the races. Come say hello. Should we get into one of our favorite segments of all time?
Yeah. Well, before you do that, there was some exciting news. I know we don't talk NASCAR at all, like ever, anymore. But there was one bit of news today that I was very glad about, and I know there's going to be some people locally that kind of hate it, but at least they'll still go run there at least once a year. But they're moving championship weekend for NASCAR back to Homestead starting 2026.
Well, did you see what they're going to be doing with that?
I did not. I just saw the nice little commercial with Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski to announce it.
They're going to be round robbing it. They're going to be switching venues every year.
Oh, I did not read that.
Yes, they're going to be switching venues, and they're going to go to different racetracks. So, to me, I mean, again, not to get on too much NASCAR stuff here, but to me, to switch it up and have a championship night at like Bristol or Martinsville or shit, even Darlington for that matter, like you need that in NASCAR now.
Yeah.
Like nothing against Phoenix, nothing against Homestead.
Yeah.
But those aren't iconic racetracks to me. You want to go to the places that mean something.
Yeah.
Now, Daytona, having your championship at Daytona, probably not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
I think leaving Daytona as your season-ending race, like actual regular season, I think that's a good idea. But not your championship.
Not your championship. No.
Martinsville, though. Oh man,
that's what I mean.
That would be a crazy effing race.
Could you imagine that when coming down? I mean, granted, they won't do it again, but could you imagine if, like what Ross Chastain did a couple years ago, and it was championship night, and he's riding the wall trying to come around to win a championship like that? Like, imagine the uproar and the storyline.
Oh God,
it would be awesome.
There'd be a lot of pissed off people, a lot of happy people, a lot of excited people. Oh yeah, that would be crazy.
It'd be badass. I saw, it was a post that Kyle Larson had shared earlier today that I saw that they were going to be moving it around a bit. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
NASCAR to me has lost its luster over the course of the last, 5-10 years. Not like what it used to be. But maybe doing shit like this will help. And
yeah,
I couldn't tell you. I watched the Daytona 500, and that's the last time I watched a NASCAR race this year.
Quite honestly, on a Sunday afternoon, I just roll through Facebook, and I look for NASCAR's post
highlights.
Race. Yeah. So
that's pretty much it too. I get down to the end, and I'm like, where were they even racing? I didn't even know they were at Texas.
Yeah, me neither.
But whatever. We could go down that rabbit hole, but anyways,
just want to throw that out there.
So we want to bring back green flag, black flag. So if you're new to the show, what we do is Jake and I will pick a topic, and then we'll either give it a thumbs up, green flag, thumbs down, black flag. That's kind of like whether we like the idea or not. So we kind of throw a suggestion out there, and then we give our opinion about it. And feel free in the comments to chime right along, because we love hearing from you guys as well. So after this weekend, they introduced the choose cone for the first time at CNS.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it went really, really well. So my question now is, do you keep it or do you not keep it? Like to me, it seems like it's one of those niche things, but there was some people that I heard from that said they didn't like the idea. They want to just keep the position that they're in, you know what I mean, and do it the way that they want to do it. Because you go back to the super late model race, and there was quite a few people that chose the bottom.
Yeah,
right? And I think it was Ed. Ed was the first one where I really noticed a huge jump in how it changed kind of like the dynamic of the race, because he had, got sent to the back right after the Holly incident, and then there was a caution, and he was sitting around like 8th, 9th, somewhere right around there, and then the next thing you know, he's on the second row outside at the start of it. Yeah. So to me, like, I love the idea, and I think it brings a certain dynamic to the races, just like that just did. You can really, it can change the complete outcome just by that simple decision that you make, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I think it's you know, what do you think of it? Like, are you for it? Green flag? Are you against it? Black flag? What is your opinion on it so far after what you've seen?
So to answer first off, Melanie McMullen's comment here, I didn't see it. It's not an actual cone on the track. It's a painted arrow, but we call it the choose cone because, I mean, technically it's kind of in the shape of a cone, but more of a triangle. But it's painted yellow on the track. I feel like they're going to have to make it brighter. I mean, you could see it from our side, but I think just for the sole reason of certain days, I think you're going to need to make it brighter, right? But anyway, I like the idea. I'm saying green flag because it does put another strategic angle into the races. I think they should at least let every series try it out for one race and then have a pit meeting every week after that of everybody that's has run and used it already and get their opinion.
Yeah. Right.
So obviously this weekend was the first time. This weekend is going to be the second time. And then the pro trucks, and what other class hasn't run yet? I think just the pro trucks after this weekend will have not ran yet. Right. That go in circles.
Yeah. That go in circles.
Yeah. Not figure eight. Cause
the ones that would actually use that.
One that actually use that. Yeah. I think it would just be the pro trucks. So I think you should at least wait till after the pro truck race. Cause I think that one's going to be huge for the pro trucks to try it out. Yeah. But I think definitely with 20 plus modifieds for sure. I know you're going to want to let them try it out and see what their opinions are afterwards. And the biggest thing about it though, is making sure, and this is where it comes into having extra eyes, is that if you choose the bottom, you have to stay on the bottom. If all of a sudden you're coming to the green flag and there's one more position up in front of you that you could just dart up to the top and then be one position ahead, you should get black flag for that. And Owasso Speedway does that. If you change lanes or go over top of the cone and don't actually technically choose a lane, you get sent to the back or black flagged. So this is where it's going to come up to the tower and all the officials to be watching that. And if somebody chooses the high lane, they stay in the high lane. If somebody chooses the bottom lane, got to stay in the bottom lane. So that's going to be hard for them, I know, with the least amount of hands that they have and eyes. But if they can do it, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. No, I'm in agreement. I think, everything you just said, it's going to come down to accountability too, like making sure that everybody's staying on top of it. But it totally brought another little nugget to the races, and it made it interesting because, well, for one, right, like your favorite driver, for instance, he's in the back or she's in the back, and then all of a sudden gets an opportunity.
Right.
He might just be having an off night, but you might be able to get a good finish out of it just by making one little simple move. So, it might confuse the shit out of some people in the stands. Be like, wait a minute, I thought he was like running 10th, and all of a sudden he's starting 4th. How make this make sense? Well, for you that might not understand it, now there's some clarification on it as to what that truly means.
Yeah, and there was some downside to it a little bit this weekend, because I know if you're kind of in the lead, you got to kind of choose the lane that's working on the track, right? Because there's some guys in the previous rule, it's just the leader that gets to choose. Like Preston, he chooses the high lane on a restart. And there's some guys that will choose the outside lane. Most guys obviously choose the bottom lane. But we saw, I think, that last caution, Brett Yackey chose the bottom, Cody went to the top, and Cody almost beat Brett with that high line. So it's kind of like anything could happen, it's not a 1-lane track. It's a 2-lane track. If you can utilize that high side, it's a 2-lane track. And for some people, it's a 3-lane track.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
So
it's true. Well, right on. Do you have a green flag, black flag, or are you going to kind of bring up that one that was suggested to us the other day?
I was going to bring up the one that's suggested, and I'm going to kind of alter it a little bit.
Okay.
So a good friend of ours, good competitor of ours, Mr. Kyle Clegg. I'll just say it. He always tries to give us good ideas. And one good idea is that for drivers that don't make every race during the year, they come out, they still spend the money, they still do just as hard a work and race just as hard as anybody else, but they're not going to see the benefits toward points toward the end of the year because of it, right?
Right.
And his suggestion, so green flag, black flag, and I'm going to kind of shorten this again, is that coming up with a separate series within Colorado National Speedway for those drivers, and it's not just each class has their own, it's kind of all combined classes where you're earning points for every race that you do make. And maybe it's once a month or twice a month or something like that, but you're earning points toward a separate series, not the CNS points, separate series for, a separate championship toward the end of the
Special cup.
Yeah.
We'll call it that.
So, yeah. Special cup. The Piston Cup.
The Piston Cup.
The Piston is what? So, green flag, black flag, would that be kind of beneficial to add another sort of entertainment factor, not only for the drivers, but fans that don't get to see their drivers that come out every week?
I mean, yeah, him and I kind of talked about this the other day, and I like the concept of it, and I totally understand what he's trying to do, right? Like for people that just might not have any time on their hands. And there's quite a few people that this applies to. It's not just, specifically him. There are quite a few people where they work on the weekends and they just can't get out there.
They got kids into racing or
or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I totally get the concept of it. I think it would be best suited if you had another racetrack to do this with.
Right.
It makes it really hard when it's the only racetrack here. Right. If I-25 was going, you could totally make that work because you have a series within a series in a sense. That it would logistically work with. It gets kind of just messy because then what happens to the people that are here every single week competing? Sure, they're going towards the CNS championship. And then that one little championship, if it's just 4 races out of the year, like an IROC series, so to speak, right? Like you just have one race, but then you just pick the one race to gain extra points in, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes it just difficult. Like it would be, yeah, I like the idea, but at the same time, so I'm going to say black flag because it just make it difficult. It would just make it hard.
Yeah, I agree with all your points. I won't kind of extend much further than that. I am just going to poke fun at him though, because he's only going to be making 1 or 2 races this whole year, so he wants to try and get one more championship in there. I feel like so,
which I get. I mean, you go out there and you get limited time to where you can go compete, and you want to earn something big for it. Totally understand that.
Right.
But to me, that's where it means it's vital for you to just win the race rather than try to win something extra. Right. Like it speaks more volumes to me that you go out in the limited time you're there. Oh, Kyle Clegg's here tonight, and he goes out and wins the fucking race. That just puts an extra stamp on it there. It's more credibility in a sense to do that than it would be to win like a miscellaneous championship, so to speak, a championship within a To me, here might be the best comparison. The NBA, right? They have that like mid-season championship thing, right? That would be kind of the comparison. To me, it doesn't hold the same weight, right? Like it wouldn't hold the same weight as a regular championship would.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, because you can call it the LeBron James series.
Yeah.
It seems like the last couple of years, the Lakers win that championship, and then all of a sudden they don't even make the playoffs.
Fall flat on their face in the regular when it means the most.
Yeah. Not saying that any of these drivers suck, but
no,
just poking fun at your comparison with the NBA.
But to me, that's kind of like what it would be like,
What it
right?
feels like, yeah.
It's like a mini championship within a championship thing.
Yeah.
Would people try as hard like the NBA players do? They don't give a shit about that. They're like,
Yeah.
what is this? A participation trophy?
Yeah.
You know, but I like the concept. Now, the thing, and this will be one of the kind of the announcements that we talk about tonight, and this might be an idea for something like this, right? So we heard word, got called from Mr. Chris Mueller. So if you all don't know, him and Mike Hathaway are doing a wingless sprint car series. They'll be out actually, I think in a couple weeks. Is it next weekend that they're out? I think it is. Time out. I'm gonna just look ahead. Yeah, it's the 17th of May. So it's the Pro Trucks and the wingless sprints. So they have a wingless sprint car series that it's going on.
Yeah.
And Mike Hathaway a couple weeks ago went down to Sandia,
It's called something
Albuquerque.
now or something, but
What's that?
I said it's called something different now, but it's formerly Sandia.
Sandia Raceway down in Albuquerque, and did some testing there. And it showed a lot of interest. They were trying to get a race there, but come to find out, there's actually going to be two. So on May 31st, they're going to have the wingless sprint cars, the modifieds, the legends, and the bandoleros. They're going to put on a show on the 31st of May. And then I think the other one, I forgot what he said. It was sometime in September. So there's going to be two races down there. So they're trying to get the word out there. So I told them, obviously, we would help with that and announce it. We're on the fence right now if we're going to be able to make the 31st show or not. We would like to. If anything, we might just take the kids down there. But we're definitely having conversation about taking the modifieds down there. So if you got a modified, especially in the Springs area, I mean, that's a short hop, skip, and a jump to get down to Sandia and go compete. He didn't mention what kind of purses or anything like that. I think the rules are just going to be bring your race car. It's the same thing as the CNS rules. Obviously, INEX is INEX, so it doesn't really matter. But there in turn, right? Like that sparks that idea about like a mini series, kind of like what INEX does right now. They have Highway 92. They got, they had Cheyenne, and then they got CNS, and they do their own, the RMLRA has their own series that they run, and you can win championship points not only for the specific racetrack you go to, but you can earn championship points for the league, right?
Yeah.
So if they could get that kind of thing going, that's where it would be incredible to have that another racetrack that's not too far, and it's just, I mean, what is it? 8 hours? I think
Albuquerque?
Yeah. 7
from here. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's like 7 or 8 hours from Denver to get down there. It's really not that bad at all.
I've driven down that way one time.
Yeah, and that was go to Tucson.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that would be awesome. That would be the perfect opportunity to do like a little series within a series, right? To compete and go have fun. That racetrack does look like a lot of fun. And I know that there's been quite a few people that have competed down there in the past when it was up and running. I know Charlie Wilson's been down there. Mike Hathaway's been down there. Mike Hunter, he's been down there. He tells us stories about that place all the time. But it's a big half-mile track, super flat, long old straightaways, a little bit tighter corners. But it looks like a kick in the ass. So all you fans that are out there, May 31st, if you're not making your way up to CNS, hop down to Albuquerque and go check it out. It's going to be the sprint cars, mods, and legends and bandos. So, if you haven't gotten it out there yet, or you're interested in going, get down there. It's going to be an awesome show.
Right.
So, yeah. Wanted to throw that out there and make that announcement. Love Chris Mueller. If you don't know the man, get a chance to go meet him. He's fucking hilarious. He's one of the funniest people I know.
Especially after a couple beers.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
God.
Get
him on a roll, and he's he's really trying to get it up and running, him and Mike Hathaway, and it's just another series, right? Like the more race cars and more things like this that get up off the ground, the more racing we have opportunity to go watch, and more opportunities for us to compete in. So it really is it's up to us to make a valiant effort to try and support it.
Right. So yeah, you can make it down there. Great. They understand with how short turnaround it is. It's going to be hard, but there is one more in September that if you can at least maybe budget up for that one, then go hit that one for sure. Because that one you got plenty of time. So
yeah, that one you got plenty of time, and I'm pretty sure we will definitely go down there for that one with our cars.
Yeah,
and I know from what he was saying, there's like 4 or 5 modifieds already down there that said that they would come out to the 31st show. So if we could get a couple more people to make their way down there, the Wilsons, bunch of those guys down there especially the south part of the state, it'd be super easy for you guys to go down there and go compete. So, I mean, we're definitely going to try. The hardest part is that's like the first weekend off for our team. So
yeah,
and I got to check with the old,
ball and chain.
I'm not going to say ball and chain. I was going to say powers to be to make it be all right to go. It's race season, goddammit.
Yeah. Good luck with saying that to her face.
I know. She'll smack the shit out of me. But anywho, but that's pretty much it for me that I wanted to announce. Do you have anything else?
Not anything off the top of my head.
All right.
Just hopefully have a good weekend for all classes this weekend. Hopefully we get all good car counts all around. I mean, I know, like you said earlier, pure stock, super stocks will have great car count. We should have a pretty good car count. And then, I want to see those figure 8s get a good car count. I like that class. It's competitive to a point sometimes. But either way, if you're making it out to race, be safe. Nut and bolt check everything.
Yep.
Make sure all your electrical is working. Fuel pump, fuel filters are clean, working, pumping, and get yourself comfortable and safe and put on a good show this weekend.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Use your heads. That's going to be the biggest thing. It's opening night for a lot of
Don't
people.
have to win it on the first turn, first lap.
Don't have to win it on the first turn, first lap, first night, really. I mean, just be smart. You're out there, compete hard, obviously, but don't put yourself or anybody else in a really bad situation and you're taking your car home in a box. That's the
Make
last
it
thing
their
you want.
race 9 at the end of the year with the same car count.
Exactly. So really looking forward to seeing who all shows up. Excited for first night out. Like Jake said, be smart. But yeah, that's it for me. Oh, what?
There's one more. Today is officially, I think I saw it on our Facebook page. Today is officially day 59 of us starting up. Let's see, the 6th. Day 59 of us starting up Hittin' the Chip podcast on Facebook. So with this whole 60-day policy thing, we are keeping our fingers crossed that next week we will be live on Facebook
again
and YouTube. So for all those people that I know love watching on Facebook and hanging in there with us on YouTube, keep your fingers crossed that everything will work out to where next week we will be live on Facebook.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to next Tuesday. We're going to start getting some guests gathered together. We're going to go have a conversation with Jim and maybe the new owners and see if they maybe want to come on either next week or maybe the following week. We'll set something up. So, but yeah, tune in next week. We'll definitely go over the recap of this upcoming weekend's events and, see what happens. So, if you're not going to be able to make it live, go tune in to Low Budget TV. They are broadcasting it again this year. So that's an excellent broadcasting network. So it's really appreciate the fact that they're doing that again this year. It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
But that's it for me. So thank you all again for tuning in. And until next time, kick ass and light the tires. We're just going to go with that one.
Let's go with it.